Good afternoon and welcome to Mark Bajerski YouTube channel. It must be quite a difficult time for many people who aren't really of the understanding of deeper and more meaningful thoughts. Those that don't attune to their higher self, those that don't take a moment to see what's going on behind the veil. And when you step into that kind of energy, when you start to walk the path of enlightenment or enlightening moments, you start to see the world as it truly is. And like I said, it must be really difficult for those who don't yet, haven't yet awakened or had their moment of realization to what life is and what it's about, So those that are now scratching their heads watching the world news, let's say, every day and seeing more and more corruption, more and more lies and deceit. And every time I talk about things like this, I always bring up Jordan Maxwell. And when he said it, I got angry at first. I did. I have to admit, I got angry. I thought, how dare you say that? But the more you look at it and the more you stand back and realize the man was a genius. Take him for however you want. People mocked him, people tried to swindle him and said it was all about the money and some horrible things, but you can't take away from the guy's genius. And so many people try, and that's what happens day to day. Anybody who shines a light, somebody's always there in the dark energy trying to steal that energy and make them look bad. But you have to, what did he say? You deserve the government you get, and you get the government you deserve. And it's rightly true. I remember him giving a talk and him saying, nobody wants love. Nobody wants truth. Nobody wants honesty. What good is that to anybody? And I'm like listening to this, getting more angry and saying, yes, they do. But he was actually right. What good is it to most of the population that are scallywags? Those that, think about it. You get somebody who says, okay, all of this is gone now, let's get rid of all of it, and all this is about is love. How do you change somebody's perception, somebody's programming into that, when all they've ever had from being a child is that you've got to pass the test, you've got to be number one, you've got to cross the finishing line first, you've got to be the best at what you do, you've got to have the biggest car, you've got to have the most beautiful wife, you've got to have the best job in the world. You see, when realization comes along and you realize all of those things are nonsense, what good is that when somebody's spreading that kind of love and that understanding? Nobody's interested in it. They don't want that. They prefer scallywags. They prefer ego-driven maniacs who stand by a Lamborghini telling you, listen guys, I can make you thousands, just do this and do that. They don't want to hear somebody saying it's all an illusion. And the thing is, you can point your finger at anybody you want. Oh, well, you're in the system. Yeah, we are. We are all in it. In one way or another, we are all connected to this system. So, in truth, we get the government we deserve, and we deserve the government we get. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge right now for those who are seeing the hypocrisy, the lies, the manipulations, and quite frankly, dark energy that is controlling this world. People can start to feel it now. There's something more to this. Can all of these coincidences be simply coincidences? Or is there something more to all of this? So this, I'd like to get on to a point that is a little bit deep and a little bit far from most people's belief system, or even capable of this acceptance of this, or wanting to even believe it. But I'd like to address it if that's okay with you. So a long time ago, I met a shaman who, after we'd worked together side by side, he was doing his work, I was doing my work, we sat and looked out across Malaga together at the sea, and we ended up talking. And he said, you know, Mark, life isn't really like you think it is. And I said, what do you mean? It's amazing. Look at what we've just done today. It's been like, I'm honoured to work alongside you. And he said, yeah, but life isn't this. It's far deeper and far darker. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, burst my bubble for a beautiful day. But it was the best conversation I ever had. And to break it down into bullet points, the conversation went something like this. The world isn't the way you see it, and the world is run by certain dark entities, and those entities have been here for thousands of years, and their only course of action, their only goals, their only aims is to lower the frequency of this world. So I asked him, who are these people? Are they like human beings? He said, well, they would look like human beings, but they're not actually like you and I. And I said, well, what do they want? And he says, well, their sole purpose is that they are the controllers of this world. And I said, what do you mean controllers? And he says, well, imagine it like an illusion, a game, a show. It's basically they're controlling the show. And I said, what, you like the Truman Show? He said, what's that? I said, it's and I explained. He said, very similar to that, right? And I said, so what do they look like? He said, they look human. He said, but they're in the most powerful positions in this world that you'll never know. And the ones that are shown to you on a daily basis are simply the ones who are told what to do. But they are a group, or let's say they are an alien race that control and manipulate everything for a certain reason. And I said, what is that reason? And he says, to lower the frequency of this world. And I said, why? And he says, because it's all to do with energy. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, the frequency of fear, the frequency of ritual, culling, abuse, is the energy that they wish to create. And I said, why? What's the whole purpose of creating pain and suffering? And he says, to keep the balance. So it was at that point where I kind of lost all understanding. How can you cause much pain and all that to keep the balance? And it made no sense to me at all. Until this moment, I still don't truly understand it. But what was said in that conversation was everything that is happening right now when it comes to what you're seeing on a global scale, whether it's a war, whether it's a famine, whether it's the money being taken away, whether there's a monumental, brutal catastrophe. It's all planned, everything. There is nothing by chance. It's all as they create it. So roll on now 2 decades, and the more I think about it, the more I realize it's very true. And the more I understand that none of this is coincidence. Whatever you see on your black screen, whatever you're being told, we've made a mistake, or we need to attack, or we need to blow these people up, or we need to do this and we need to do that. We need to put this in the water. We need to give you bugs. We need to stop you from moving because of climate change. All of these things are part of these non-human beings who control the world and thus create this almost ritualistic abuse. So what do you do with that when you know that from every single angle which has been covered by these sick entities that run this world, how do we navigate through that? And that's been something that I've been working on for at least a good 8 solid years. And just even the thought of the argument of meat and getting rid of meat and changing it to bugs, or going on a vegan diet, and the fighting and arguing, all of these things are deliberate. The idea of wokeness, the idea of LGBT, or as I say, I'm not even going to go there, but all of these MPGP pop-up, they're like, I am who I am, and I can be who I want to be, and please don't call me he or she. This is all manipulated. This is all deliberate, and it's to cause the greatest of suffering and pain, and most of all, the greatest confusion the world has ever seen. When you confuse a single human being, you create a very, very easy slave. And it's fascinating when you start going down the path of how these entities that control this world, who to you and I would look like a human being, their religion, their goal, their aim is to cause great harm on this planet all the time. And just so you know, this idea of you thinking that they are doing this because they are enjoying it, there's a lot of understanding now that it's not about enjoyment, it's not about ego, it's not about narcissism, it's about their true belief that what they're doing is the right thing. So it's fascinating. It's fascinating what's going on right now, and this darkness that is manipulating and weaving itself through all of these psychopaths. The fact being that the government can't change anything. In fact, they won't change anything, and the only thing they will do is follow the bidding of their masters. Anybody who gets into the world of government and politics, these are monumental, brutal human beings that are very easily manipulated, and they are actors. So they're put on stage to do their master's bidding, and you've probably figured all this out by now. And the lies that they weave every day, constantly weaving lies, all of this also is part of the game. It's part of this stage show. It's part of this movie that we're in. And if you can confuse everybody, again, you've got people in a state of panic and worry. So again, I go back to the same point. What do we do to navigate through this cesspit? Well, when I recognized this happening about 15 years ago, it took me a while to try and understand everything. And at this moment in time, the navigation that I give people and share with people is everything that I've learned through my own shortcomings, my weaknesses, my faults, my falling over, and through the thousands of clients that I've worked with and listened to. And I've had some amazing clients, some amazing people that have come into my life and shared golden nuggets of truth. So here's my truth. Today I stand before you and I don't believe a word anybody says. And you might think that's a negative, but it's actually a far greater and more powerful grounding position to be in. Because there's so much lies and deceit that you are in a far greater position to not believe somebody at the beginning than to just simply believe. And the human characteristics within us is to believe, because why would we not believe somebody? If we wouldn't lie, why would somebody else lie? And that is how they entrap us. This is how this subhuman family who control this world knows that this is the weak side of us. So that's the first thing. I don't believe anything that I see. I don't rush into doing anything. I step back and just observe, and I've started to read in between the lines. I've started to look at life completely different than I used to. And everything that I see and hear, I'm trying to make sense of what's going on. And the more you understand the end result of what this subhuman race wants to try and create, it's easier to see what's going on. So everything that I see differently from other people. So you ask me one thing like, well, what do you mean? Well, every single corporation on this planet is there to do the bidding of these subhumans. So every single corporation that sells a product, for instance, that are in your supermarket shelves, which could be aerosols, sprays that you would use under your arms here, suntan lotion that you rub on your skin, food that you consume, if it's corporation made, I don't believe anything that it says on the packet, and I will not buy anything belonging to a corporation now. Nothing. So you're probably more likely to live a healthier life by thinking like this. Secondly, anything that's on my black screen, which is to do with politics and to do with the mainstream media, I don't believe a single word that's been said. Because when they say, oh, this happened, what I say is, what you mean, you created it? And when they say, and it's not a bad thing, so don't worry, I know that it's a bad thing and you should worry. So what I do with that then as the second golden nugget is that everything that they tell you, reverse and do the opposite. And you'll find you'll live a lot longer and happier. There is a dual edge sword here. It's like a double-edged sword. It's like, do I listen to the mainstream media or do I completely shut it off? Well, by shutting it off, you're going to be a lot more healthier. But some people want to know what the issues are to be able to look through them and navigate through that. And that's okay. That's kind of me. But there are times that I like to shut off completely and go into nature. Third nugget of truth is nature. We have to spend more time in Mother Earth. We have to spend more time in Mother Nature if we want to feel any kind of healing. I think for me, anything that I put in my mouth now has to be medicine. And although sometimes I'll fall, I found myself over the years getting stronger and stronger, and there's less garbage that goes into my mouth now because I put more healing into my mouth. So less poison, more healing. So the more healing you put into your mouth, the less poison you put into your mouth. Makes sense. So right now I'm drinking pomegranate juice. This morning I had a double shot of ginger, fresh ginger, freshly squeezed with fresh apple, organic ginger. I do eat eggs sometimes, and when I do eat eggs, they're normally organic. Why? Because I don't want to be eating eggs from a chicken that's been injected, because there's no doubt that if I'm eating eggs from a chicken that's had vaccines, then it's surely going to be in the egg. So I do my best to buy everything organic. Now, if I see organic in the supermarket, that's not organic, because that's a corporation. So they lie about everything. And I've made videos before about this. So the only way you can make this happen is you have to take the time and the effort to hunt locally. So I've got 8 chickens now. It took me twice as long to get the chickens and to find the chickens, because I needed to find the ones that haven't been vaccinated. And funnily enough, the ones that have been vaccinated all around me, they all said that they're sick and ill. Mine are healthy as anything. My 2 cockerels that I brought up from little babies, oh my God, they are so powerful and so strong. And I see other vaccinated chickens, and they don't look well at all. I wonder why that is. So that's another thing. Navigating through life to be able to steer yourself away from the issues of life, you've got to realize that everything is an attack on you at any given moment. And that's an awful thing to live by, because you'll start to get paranoid, and you can get paranoid, and it's okay to be paranoid, but the paranoia is only there because you're not coming up with solutions. When you have a solution, there's nothing to be paranoid about, okay? So it's like, okay, what's my solution when I walk out of the door when there's chemtrails? Oh, you might say this is bullshit, chemtrails are bullshit. Well, that's fine, but look at every single cloud seeding that's going on. Look at all the stuff that they're pumping into the clouds every day. Weather manipulation by HARP, DARPA, military industrial complex. It's been going on for years, guys. So look at America now. They've just had a spill, or the spill was created. Of course it was. It's all created. No, it isn't. It was an accident. No, it wasn't. And I would bet you any money there's no accident involved in this. So however you look at it, all of these things are manipulated by the ones who I talk about. And we're always bombarded from everything. The water, the food, the sky, everything. The 4+1G, everything, all the time. And there's more and more evidence every day, more and more understanding every day that people are getting sicker. There's more cancers, there's more children dying, there's more people not being able to have children. Okay, these are just coincidences. Of course they are. They're not coming from anywhere. They just happen. Yeah, of course they do, mate. Yeah, see you later. Good. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you drink your Red Bull, and you keep eating your burgers. You see, it's all about realizing that everything is contaminated. So if you realize that, you put into motion the change of your life. So I spend my time, instead of doing things that aren't important, doing things that are important. Like what, Mark? Like finding organic farmers. So it takes a while, but you go out there and you start asking farmers, you asking local people, oh yeah, there's a farm shop here. So in 1 hour from now, I go to a local farmer in Coin, and all the farms from around there come to this one place and drop all the food off, and you just choose what you want and buy it and you take it home. This is all organic food. So the water supply, well, we have a well. I saved my money up and bought a unit that cleans the water, and it goes through filterization systems like salt and all the other filters that are in there, which clears any bacteria that may be in there. And then it goes down to the house, and then I've got a reverse osmosis. And we also travel 1 hour to a top of a mountain here. I used to travel longer, and we get fresh water from the spring. Now, if you think that what I'm saying is a lie, ask yourself this. If you think that I'm paranoid, ask yourself this. Why is it? In fact, no, let me just say it to you. What's happening right now is an attack on everything that is still healthy. That is organic food and that is fresh water. You go and try and share a link on, let's say, Facebook. Just go there now and try. Just type in to your comment section where you post something and type in findaspring.com and see what happens. And now tell me that I'm not paranoid. They're stopping you from sharing where fresh water is. And this is what I'm saying. This is larger than what anybody realizes. This isn't going from a little place here. This is those that are controlling this world and manipulating it and trying to make everybody sick. You create a sick society and you can manipulate them to do whatever you want. If you can take away monetary value and turn it into credit, you can stop people from doing what you want. Ultimately, what they're trying to do is control every single aspect of your life. And eventually, with the likes of Anal Schwab, what they're doing is they're trying to get into your mind. So eventually, your mind will be useless. But if you upgrade, and if you want to be part of society now, then you need this chip in your head. And then from then, these that are controlling the world will control your thoughts and give you the information that they want you to think. And eventually you won't think of anything because your thoughts are going to be useless. Because if you tap into the AI technology like chat, that's what it will be. It will be, you'll have instant everything. You'll have instant knowing of everything. So what's the point of using your own brain when you're getting the information poured into you? But that's what they tell you, and that's what they want you to think, and that's why you'll buy into it. But what they're really trying to do is they're trying to sell you something for nothing. Oh, it's free. Yeah, when anybody offers you something free, remember, it's too good to be true. It normally is. So just like Facebook, that was phase one. Oh, come to us. Share your pictures. Do this, do that. It's all free. And then when they've got you all, oh, we don't like what you're saying. We're going to delete you and take you away, just like they did with me. And now we're going to manipulate you and tell you what you have to think and what you can share. That's the same as AI technology. It's going to give it you free. So yeah, come for a plant. Yeah, we're going to stick it into you. You're all going to be like this. And you're all going to work on this level. And then eventually that chip is going to tell you what to do, what to think, what to feel. So you will not be anything other than AI technology. You will be a walking automaton. You will be a robot. You will be absolutely zilch, nil and void of any character or any love, but you will feel that you are above everybody else because you have genius. And then eventually that genius turns to, hang on a minute, they're manipulating everything I'm doing. They're manipulating everything I'm saying. And they'll shut me down at any time with this AI technology. Yes, they will. It's the same thing. So we only have one thing that is the most powerful thing that this entity, these horrible non-human beings are trying to cull the chattel. And that is the power of no. And that is a really powerful thing. So for me, I have the power of no, and I say no with a finger in the air. They can't manipulate me, and they won't manipulate me, and that is where the power lies. So this was a little food for thought. It's something to think about. Look after yourself. Eat well, eat healthy, stay away from anything that is a corporation that is trying to sell you something. Any corporation is a corpse, and their ultimate aim is to make you a corpse. And that's what they do every day through their brainwashing nonsense, lies, games, Hollywood movies, lies, manipulations, fear tactics, spells. They're casting, broadcast. They're casting a spell. They're programming you. All of the things that these amazing people talked about. The likes of Jim Mars, who used to tell us these things. The likes of Jordan Maxwell, who taught us about words and how the world really works, and that nobody really knows how it works. And so many other geniuses that warned us about what was happening. So look after yourself. Don't buy into the corporation lies. Don't buy into anything that your government tells you what you should and shouldn't do, because by now you must know whatever you listen to, what your government have said, a lot of you are regretting every single moment of it. And I'm so sorry, but maybe that is a wake-up call for you to share with your family and children and their children. And this is the only way of breaking this cycle of psychopaths who are run by this entity that controls this world. Darkness is always there, and so is light. The choice is yours. Do you follow the darkness or do you follow the light? For me, it's vital that we follow the light. It's vital that we see through the lies and the propagandas and everything that's being fed to us daily. One of the biggest red flags to me is when something is blown out of proportion on the mainstream media. That is a sure sign that that's another chess move by these entities that are creating things constantly, day after day. Have a great day, guys. Thank you so much. And just a little heads up. Oh, I better not, because it ends in a few hours. But thank you so much, guys. I wish you a lovely day. Thank you for supporting Bajerski.com. Thank you for buying your crystals, oils, and incense, all authentic, all worked on by myself. And I hope you feel the energy and the love that's been put in there. Take care. Have a great day.